Tell you what, let's finish up with, well, let's just have some fun. Let's just do something here. Let's create something. So go to the word File and select New. Now in New, I'm going to use the Web Default Profile. That's 960 by 560. Click OK. It fits so well into my space, doesn't it? What we want to do here is use some of what we have learned and make, like a flower. Just something really simple. But they're kind of fun to do. And if you don't know the techniques we're going to use, it might take you a whole lot longer. So let's do this. Pick up your ellipse tool. It's right here. Now come in here and draw me a really elongated ellipse like that. It's going to be one of the petals in our flower. Okay, now I want to make sure that it does have a stroke, and you can see it does right here. But if it didn't, all you'd have to do is click this button right here, and that would default it to black and white. Black stroke, 1 pixel, white. I don't want white as the fill though. So I'm going to come up here and pick a color like maybe yellow. Make sure you got the fill selected here. And, sunflowers. Sunflowers are yellow. Now, the next thing is, let's rough it up a little bit. I remember a movie when I was a kid. It was called The Day of the Triffids, and scared just the heck out of me. And it was about these giant flowers that kind of took over the world, and everybody's running around and they're like eating all these people. And just for some reason, it was a scary movie to me. Now, I'm from Kansas, and Kansas has sunflowers. Sunflowers are taller than me, and they do follow the sun, like they're watching it. And every time I see a big field of these sunflowers, I think, oh my goodness, it's the Day of the Triffids again. Let's make a triffid leaf by doing this. Go up to the word Effect on the pull-down menu, and go down to Distort and Transform, and select Roughen. Let's see what we can do here real quick. I'm going to turn the preview on. And that's a little bit too much. I'm going to change the size to about 1%, and that'll really make it better. And for details, let's try about maybe 5. Maybe something like that, okay? Now we can smooth it, or we can corner it, just like that. Let's leave it at corner and click OK. So there's our first leaf. What I want to do next is, and I'm getting ahead of myself by doing this, but what I want to do next is, and by getting ahead, I mean we haven't gotten here yet in terms of the pen tool. But if you go to the pen tool, there's an option called Convert Anchor Point Tool. If you select it, and then you click on that top anchor point, what it's going to do, it's going to straighten it out. And when it straightens it out, it makes it almost look like an upside down, or like an elongated teardrop or something. That's going to be our first petal in our sunflower. Okay? So we select it. Now we know if we hold the Alt key down, that's the option on a Mac, and drag, it basically makes a copy. Now I can press Control D, that's Command D on a Mac, Control D in Windows, and make copies. But it's going to do the same thing that I did before. So I'm going to undo that stuff, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to come up here and pick the Rotate tool up. Now what I want you to do for the first click, what it rotates around, is get right at the top of it, right there. Hold the Alt key down, option on a Mac, and click. Now what you need to know is we have to go all the way around. So the number we put in here must be divisible by 360. So 10's pretty easy. Let's do a 10. We want a copy. See what it's doing? Okay, so do a copy. So the last thing we did is rotate something 10 degrees. Now press Control D. Now it will stop and start at the same place because it's divisible into 360. Kind of a weird looking flower, isn't it? Let's do this. Pick up your ellipse tool again. Come in right to the center, right there. Now hold the Alt key, Option key in a Mac, that draws out from center. And draw yourself a little central place like that, maybe. And that's usually on a sunflower very dark. So we could come over here maybe and make it black, I suppose, if we wanted to. Maybe something like that. A simple flower. But if you didn't know the techniques that we used, would have been much more difficult for you to do. Remember Control D, like Command D on a Mac, Control D in Windows. Duplicate the last thing you did. That's a pretty cool one to think about. And we'll get more into this kind of stuff later too.